Ukraine has seen Russia's weakness and is exploiting it to the maximum. Russia is not a state but a giant petrol station, and Ukrainian generals are using that weak spot to cripple the Russian war machine. Every day, another refinery is targeted. Ukrainian drones struck an oil refinery in Russia's Volgograd Oblast overnight, Regional Governor Andrei Bocharov said. The refinery, Russian oil company Lukoil's second largest, is a major producer of petroleum products in Russia's southern federal district. According to Bocharov, a fire broke out at the site following the attack. Residents told Russian pro-government media outlets shot that they heard between 4 and 10 explosions, with drones flying at low altitude and bright flashes visible in the night sky. Russia's defense ministry claimed 13 Ukrainian drones were shot down over the region. Lukoil's Volgograd refinery, which has an annual capacity of 14.8 million tons, had already been forced to halt production after last week's strikes. Reuters reported that the damaged units together accounted for the plant's entire refining capacity. Volgograd Oblast along the lower Volga River is roughly 470 miles, 290 kilometers, from Ukraine-controlled territory and shares a border with Kazakhstan to the southeast. The extent of the damage is not yet known. Ukraine has not commented on the attack. Ukraine has repeatedly used long-range drones to strike industrial and military targets deep inside Russia, focusing in particular on oil infrastructure that fuels Moscow's war effort. At least 3 Russian refineries suspended or cut operations this month due to such attacks, including Rosneft's Saratov facility and refineries in Ryazan and Novokuybishevsk. And the results of these strikes are now coming to light. Wholesale gasoline prices in Russia surged to historic highs after a wave of drone strikes forced at least 3 major refineries to halt production, the Moscow Times reported. Russia, one of the world's largest energy producers, relies heavily on oil exports to fund its full-scale war against Ukraine. Ukrainian forces have increasingly targeted Russian energy facilities that both supply fuel to its military and generate revenue for the Kremlin. On the St. Petersburg International Mercantile Exchange, the cost of I-92 gasoline reached 71,500 rubles, $888 per ton, while I-95 climbed to 80,430 rubles, $999 per ton. Prices rose by up to 2.2% in a single day and have jumped 38% and 49% respectively since the start of 2025. Since early August, Ukrainian drones have struck multiple refineries, including Rosneft's plants in Novokuybishevsk and Saratov, as well as Lukoil's Volgograd refinery, the largest in southern Russia and among the top 10 nationwide. In occupied Crimea and parts of Zabaykalsky Krai, I-95 gasoline has reportedly disappeared from most filling stations or is being sold only by coupons to enterprises, local reports said. Russia's energy ministry reportedly said that the situation is under control, claiming that supply is sufficient, domestic deliveries are increasing, and no logistical problems are being observed. Ukraine's military said that its long-range strikes in 2025 have caused losses worth 4.11% of Russia's annual GDP, or about $74.1 billion. Oil refineries have been the most common targets, making up 42% of attacks in 2025. Most recently, Ukrainian forces have struck the Russian port of Olya in Astrakhan Oblast, a hub for Iranian-made Shahed drones, as well as refineries in Volgograd, Saratov, and Syzran. And to the battlefields, the units of the 12th Special Forces Brigade, Azov successfully repelled a Russian assault attempt to secure a foothold near the village of Katerinivka in the Toretsk sector. The brigade's press service released a video capturing the defense in action. The enemy deployed armored vehicles to support their advancing infantry in the effort to establish control in Katerinivka. Despite the intensity of the attack, the defenders of the Azov Brigade used drones to target and disable Russian equipment, preventing the enemy from retreating or evacuating their forces. Meanwhile, after destroying the enemy's equipment, the brigade's drones began targeting the remaining Russian occupiers who, lacking support, started to scramble chaotically in search of cover. According to the Deep State resource, Russian forces have not ceased their attempts to capture this settlement and continue to launch constant attacks on Ukrainian defensive positions. Meanwhile, according to official information from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, on August 17, 2025, the enemy carried out 9 attacks on the positions of Ukraine's defense forces. In early August, the soldiers of the 28th Mechanized Brigade and adjacent units of the Ukrainian Defense Forces successfully repulsed a Russian tank assault near Toretsk in the Donetsk region. The military note that after months of continuous small group assaults in the Toretsky sector, the Russians decided to go all in. In the morning, on one section of the front, scouts from the 3rd Mechanized Battalion spotted 2 enemy barn tanks with infantry moving toward Ukrainian positions. Militarny previously reported that the paratroopers of the Ukraine's 79th Separate Air Assault Brigade had driven Russian troops out of the village of Zoloty Kolodiaz in the Donetsk region. The paratroopers also repelled an attempted breakthrough in the Dobropilya area, preventing Russian forces from advancing further. Stabilization measures are ongoing. Operators of the 429th Achilles UAV Regiment destroyed Russia's most modern tank, the T-90M Proryev. The unit also knocked out another tank, a BM-21 Grad MLRS, a Tiger armored vehicle, and a Kamaz truck. Since the start of the full-scale invasion, Russia has lost thousands of tanks in Ukraine. Modern models like the T-72B3, T-80, and even the newer T-90M have been destroyed in large numbers by drones, artillery, and anti-tank missiles. Ukrainian sources and Western intelligence estimate that well over 8,000 Russian tanks and armored vehicles have been eliminated. This massive attrition has forced Russia to pull old Soviet-era tanks out of storage, many from the 1960s and 70s, showing how badly their armored forces have been depleted. In a week or two, we'll know whether we'll resolve this, or whether this terrible war will continue. Trump.
We'll see, and in a certain period of time, not very far from now, a week or 2 weeks, we're going to know whether or not we're going to solve this, or is this horrible fighting going to continue. We'll do our best to get it ended.
In the Odessa region, Russian terrorists used Shahed drones to strike an oil depot belonging to the Azerbaijani company SOKAR. A series of precision hits damaged all 17 storage tanks, the pump station building, technical facilities, and more. A massive fire broke out. Preliminary reports say no casualties. This is the second attack on this site in August. Russian strikes on Azerbaijani-owned oil facilities in Ukraine have further worsened already strained relations between Moscow and Baku. Azerbaijan, which has sought a careful balance between Russia and the West, now sees its economic interests directly under attack. The destruction of its energy assets by Russian missiles has sparked anger in Baku and deepened distrust, adding a new layer of tension to a relationship that was already fragile due to Russia's role in the South Caucasus. For Azerbaijan, this is not just about Ukraine. It's about Russia proving itself an unreliable and hostile partner. The moment of the morning strike on a residential building in Kharkiv, the attack was deliberate. The death toll has risen to 7.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week, it's 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.